India Upfront, viewers, a film poster, you might have all seen it on social media, depicting goddess Kaali smoking and waving the gay pride banner with aplomb, has stoked a massive controversy. In ordinary times, such a poster may have gone unnoticed. That's because Hindus, by definition, are less dogmatic. There's really no concept of apostasy or blasphemy. Hindus, by nature, are more open to inquiry when it comes to rituals and their own faith. And many people have delved into the various nuances of ritualism, Hindu iconography, and the like. Hindus are given to providing a wider berth to even those who take liberties with Hindu religious iconography. Even in the past, when Hindus have resorted to excesses to settle scores with provocateurs, it is only after sustained and relentless, malicious needling. All dams can burst, viewers. But viewers, these are extraordinary times when a nation is roiled because some from the Muslim community have taken exception to what Nupur Sharma has said, and when so-called liberals are demanding severe punishments for those who have supported Nupur Sharma. Even Hindus, therefore, in the backdrop of all of this, have begun to feel that they have a right to feel equally offended. And therefore, when a filmmaker has slighted goddess Kaali, Hindus are calling for an outright apology. In fact, viewers, she has been accused by a lawyer of hurting Hindu sentiments. He's filed a case against her. Mind you, no one is seeking the director's beheading, and that is to be thankful for, viewers, and may it continue to be the case, because as I said, Hindus don't have a concept of violent reprisals. Despite the outrage, the filmmaker is standing her ground, refusing to withdraw the poster. And she says she won't do so. This is quite unlike, of course, how Nupur Sharma caved in when there was an avalanche of rape threats, Sartan se Juda invocations, and a lot worse. A lot worse, viewers. She gave in. She says, I'm sorry if I've caused hurt. I withdraw my remarks. The filmmaker isn't. And maybe she doesn't need to. In fact, in most democracies that really respect the concept of inquiry, you would not need to. Time after time we've seen this. But the point is, viewers, that all those who bait for Nupur Sharma's arrest, if not her head, are quiet about what the Hindus believe is a deliberate attempt by filmmaker Leena Manimekala to spark a controversy to perhaps promote her film. I don't know why she's done this. Maybe she truly believes in artistic license and the need to inquire and to project and maybe even provoke. As I said, in ordinary times, it would have been taken as another attempt at furthering freedom of expression. But because one community in this country has drawn such a firm line over the necks of people, viewers, the majority community now feels that it is obliged to defend, to get defensive about those who provoke. And I said, viewers, many times before that this is going to happen. As a result of which, you're not going to be able to discuss things openly anymore in society. We are not going to flourish as a democracy. I mean, look at our Supreme Court justices. The Chief Justice stands in America and gives this hosanna to inclusiveness in America. Forgetting, of course, it's a society where the Supreme Court there has just excluded women from having a right over their own bodies. But also forgetting how, in his own court, there are judges who blithely paper over the death threats that Nupur Sharma has got, preferring to blame her, not the obscurantists. So today, viewers, the Hindus are feeling aggrieved equally, and they say that, look, if Muslims can feel aggrieved about what Nupur has said, then we have a right to feel just as aggrieved about what Leena has said, and she must take back her words. She must be booked for inciting our passions. And who knows, some lunatic might even come and do something. As I said, thankfully, no one from the Hindu community, viewers, has even gone in the direction of issuing death threats, and that says a lot. But viewers, it still doesn't exempt all those liberals who sat in judgment over Nupur Sharma and those who are supporting Nupur Sharma, including some self-styled ones in the Supreme Court. Why are they silent today? Here's a quick look at the so-called secularists who raged against Nupur but are silent today. Rahul Gandhi, silent. I don't think till last count he's spoken up, though he had a view on the beheadings, saying that not Nupur but Prime Minister and RSS were responsible for creating the environment that has led to the beheadings. I'm not hearing him say the same about Leena Manimekalai. BJP and the Prime Minister's ego hindering arrest of Nupur, says Asaduddin Owaisi. Has he called for the arrest of Leena Manimekalai? No, I don't know. I haven't seen a vociferous Owaisi stand amongst his supporters. I haven't seen him. In fact, viewers, he couldn't even bring himself to call for the arrest of his own MP who wants Nupur hanged. Talking about that MP, let me quote you. This is what he said: Nupur Sharma must be hanged. Hang her at this very square of Aurangabad. This man who calls himself a secularist, standing up for religious sentiments, he hasn't spoken against Leena, asking for the same. Probably he thinks he's a Muslim first and not an Indian. I don't know, viewers. Qazi Abdul Qudus, ready to hit the streets, sar pe kafan bandh ke. He hasn't criticized Leena either. And there are many. They're not even secularists. Adil, Ganai, all of these chaps are not secularists. Mainstream political parties are quiet today. Quiet. Viewers, obviously the selective silence is resulting in a massive war of words. While some say Hindus have become easy targets, the so-called liberal ecosystem dithers on taking a direct stand on this. Let's hear some of the sound bites. Let's listen in.
Liberty comes along with sensitivity. Freedom comes along with responsibility. Can we live in a world without being sensitive, respectful and responsible? What happened with the Kaali poster is that Leena created a hate poster against Hindu community. She is purposefully demeaning, denigrating, defaming one of the most revered deities of Hinduism, Kaali Ma. What Leena did is to create a hate poster and demean Hindus and defame our deities. This is absolutely unacceptable. I hope Aga Khan Museum reconsiders it, and there should also be a case filed on her for provoking Hindu sentiments.
Social media has become an instrument of contention. Social media has become an instrument of enmity. So the entire social media platform should be regulated in such a manner so that no kind of enmity could be spread out among in the society, across the nation.
Piers, let's open this up. Let's ask some basic questions here. You've heard the political actors, some dithering, some upset, some calling for action. Let's try to get a sense of what our panel has to say here. Let me begin with Mr. Kevin Matthews. Mr. Matthews, if you can hear me, should Section 295A, which relates to offending religious sentiments, be now invoked against the filmmaker Leena? Are you there? Can you hear me? Nizam Bhai, is he there or is he not? Okay, we've lost him. Okay, Manojit Mondol. The same question. Should Section 295A, which relates to offending religious sentiments, be now invoked against the filmmaker?
In what sense? I mean, the film has not even been released. Have you watched the movie?
I can see the poster and a large number of people are upset.
You haven't watched the movie. First of all, this. Yeah, the poster. What is the offensive element in the poster?
Okay.
Just spell it out properly. What is that? Spell it out. What is the offensive element in the poster?
You can't see.
The Kaali has been fictionally portrayed completely as a different light.
Okay. So not a problem.
Do women smoke in this country? Do women smoke in this country?
Okay.
Do women smoke in this country?
Okay.
Women do.
Women do.
Even the women who are traveling by trains, who are working on the ground, the labor class, they also smoke.
Right.
So if smoking is not banned for everyone, if men can smoke, why can't women smoke?
Okay.
If smoking is banned for everyone, let it be. The
Okay.
problem is like with the smoking, that's a cultural taboo. Men can smoke, women can't smoke.
Right.
And I think Goddess Kaali represents the oppressed and suppressed. So what's wrong in it? I think this is rather a very interesting fictional appropriation of goddess empowerment.
Okay.
What's wrong in that? First you watch the movie, you try to understand the narrative of the movie and then debate. The beer showing the poster because the smoking is shown. The Kaali, in fact, for God's sake, Kaali is represented completely differently, and that's happening in a different country. The film is getting released in a different country.
Right.
So it's an appropriation, transculturation of Goddess Kaali in a different country in Canada. Completely different cultural context.
Okay. Different cultural
In fact, let me tell you, Rahul, there are plenty of such representations of gods and goddesses in Indian movie.
Right.
Gods are at times portrayed comically. A movie like God to See Great Ho, that's a very interesting movie played by Amitabh Bachchan. God is being presented as a human
Mr.
being with flesh and blood, all kinds of comical elements.
Fair enough.
And that's been there for 1960s.
Okay. So should I ask you a question?
What's the problem in that?
If, and this is...
Yeah, please do.
This is the second question. Many people
Yes.
haven't really fact-checked what Nupur Sharma said. Many people haven't actually sat down to say, let's have a
Yes.
look. If what Nupur Sharma has said hasn't already been said by others like Zakir Naik and several others, in the mainstream also. No one actually sat down to say, was she right, was she wrong? They went by the tone of a debate. They didn't look at the context like you are wanting to examine. What they said was Sartan se juda.
Now ask the
Finished.
question. I understand what you're trying to say. Ask the question.
Monojit Mondol, today, Hindus, whether you like it or not, are invoking their right to be upset, to be in some ways very aggrieved. And they say, well, sorry, if the Muslim community can invoke their right or wrong, I don't know, to feel aggrieved, to feel offended, then we feel the same way. We also feel offended. Maybe it's a triviality, but they're invoking their rights. Do they have a lesser right in India to feel offended than Muslims, Mr. Mondol?
What is the question? Everyone, absolutely they have got the right. They have
So
got the
then
right
if
to
they
be
have the
offended,
right,
but it will
if
be
they
judged
have
by
the right,
court, it will
if
be
they
judged by
believe-
narration. And
Okay.
then again, the
Okay.
distinction is that,
Right.
distinction is that, Mr. Rahul,
Yes.
Nupur Sharma is a real human being.
Okay.
He stated in a TV,
So
and
Leena-
Kaali, goddess Kaali
Leena
is
is
not
not a
real human
computer-generated
being. This is
graphic.
fictional representation of goddess
But
Kaali.
Leena is also.
No.
Leena is also.
Leena is imagining goddess Kaali.
Okay, Mr.
Leena
Mandol.
is imagining goddess Kaali.
Now,
in
one
this
second.
avatar.
Let's
That's
just
an
stop here.
imagination.
Okay, let's
That's
just
an
stop here.
imagination.
30 seconds.
Nupur Sharma is not imagined embodiment, right?
Okay,
She is
okay.
imagining
So
goddess
give me
Kaali
30
in
seconds.
this embodiment.
Give me 30
Nupur Sharma
seconds.
is not imagination.
Let me try to square what Mr. Mondol is saying. So first, Mr. Mondol said that, look, have you seen the movie? That's besides the point. No one is looking at the context anymore. The people who go after Nupur Sharma, or those who support and have actually, those who have been beheaded for supporting Nupur Sharma, no one is giving them the benefit of doubt. No. Kill her, murder her, hang her, jail her. She's also a human being. She also has a right to express herself creatively, offensively, and she should be booked.
Nobody should be saying hang her.
One second.
Nobody should be
You're
saying-
interrupting
those
me.
who are
I didn't
saying that
interrupt
also
you, sir.
equally
Sir,
culpable.
please, you're interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you. So let's first establish
Only
that.
you are speaking, sir.
I'm not. I asked you four questions. You should appreciate that. 4 questions. I could have easily moved on after your first answer. I tried to get what you're saying out of you.
So
please give me 30
Give me
seconds.
time.
Give me 30 seconds. Please, sir. Give me 30. I'm only asking for precious 30 seconds of your very, very important time. Just 30 seconds. Then he went on to say that, what's the problem? It's happening in Canada. Well, there are governments here who banned the satanic verses, though they were written in England by a chap who changed his name. But there were cross-border repercussions.
I know.
You have people in the Gulf who are reacting to something that happened in India. And the Indian government, of course, goes and grovels. And all our politicians in the opposition say, oh, we must listen to what the Gulf chaps are saying. You know, their rights also matter. My God, their sentiments. So you can look at the asinine responses we are getting tonight, viewers, in defense of Leena. Just hear it for yourselves. I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, we also have with us Rashmi Samant. We have the great Kevin Matthews, advocate Himanshu Goswami, and the incomparable Vineet Jindal, all of them, the complainant. So let's open this up. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, how do you respond to our great Mr. Mondol here, who has made some very incisive points?
Good evening. Objection if Mr. Mondol is fundamentally against Section 295A and supports the freedom of expression of anyone who says anything against anyone's religion, from Salman Rushdie to Charlie Hebdo journalist, to Nupur, who incidentally quoted Islamic scriptures, to this film director who has portrayed the goddess Kaali in the light that she feels. But the problem is hypocrisy. That is the issue. Because those supporting the woman who offended religious sensibilities of Hindus today were till last week demanding the arrest of a woman for offending the religious sensibilities of Muslims. इनकी ये समझ में नहीं आता है कि भैया, this is hypocrisy and it is mind-boggling. In fact, it is institutional. Rahul, you know one op-ed intellectual who writes every Sunday, who till recently supported Salman Rushdie, like all of us did, but now calls him Islamophobic. Read his column. He called him Islamophobic and no longer supports him. Because if he did, then he'd also have to support Nupur Sharma, and he doesn't want to do this. This is what passes off as intellect in this country. Kya kare? Kare to kare kya? When it comes to Islam, do you remember how Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on the floor of our parliament demanded an apology from Denmark for the Prophet cartoons? Remember how Sonia Gandhi publicly apologized to his Shahi Imam of Jama Masjid for them? But when it comes to Hinduism, it's a free-for-all. I guess Hindus are today tired of selective targeting and this hypocrisy. Secularism, I'm afraid, is not a one-way street. If it isn't the popular discourse, the stand-up comics, the tweets mocking Hinduism, the Tanishq ad, or the Red Label ad where it projected a Hindu as bigoted and non-accepting of his Muslim neighbor, It is done by parties like the DMK or TMC or the Congress. All those Gaumutra jibes, Shivling jokes, terming Hindu god Parashuram as a terrorist and a rapist, claiming Hindu epics are replete with misogyny and Me Too instances, celebrating Tipu Jayanti despite knowing that he demolished hundreds of temples and converted and butchered lakhs of Hindus. And who can forget the phrase saffron terror, or that the fact that communal violence bill where only the majority, i.e. Hindus, even in Kashmir, where they are minority, would be held guilty in a communal riot. Rahul, if we are talking of mainstreaming hate, why are we as a nation so scared to even make public the preachings that render Abrahamic religions exclusivist and supremacist? So although I am not for banning any ad or any stand-up comic or film that mocks Hinduism or Hindu gods, because there are so many, especially lately, it would be a good idea for the makers to append their creative works with a small print that says, quote, yes, we are mocking Hindu beliefs and Hindu gods because we can. And Hindus have always accepted this. We dare not mock Islam or its practices or its prophet or God, because if we do, we'll be beheaded like or killed like Charlie Hebdo journalist or Kamlesh Tiwari. In fact, we are too scared to even support an alleged blasphemer, because even that harmless act of solidarity will get us beheaded like Kanhaiya Lal or Kole. Just this simple small print will assuage the Hindus and make the Muslims realize that we all live in a country that used to cherish the freedom to criticize religion, and where the punishment for apostasy or for being a kafir is not death.
Well, let me tell you, you see, there is another point that Mr. Monojit Mandal has sort of skipped over. If Kaali holding a cigarette is the writer's imagination, weren't those cartoons sketched by the Danish journalists or cartoonist, the imagination of the cartoonist? Why were they persecuted then? Of course, Monojit Mandal will not have the gumption to call that out and stand up for that right. To use imagination.
How do you presume that? How do you presume that I'll support the beheader?
Because, sir, you made it quite clear.
Absolutely.
I'm asking you, do you support the right?
Representation of religion.
So let me ask you, should we support the right of the Danish cartoonists?
I do support their right to express themselves.
Okay, so you support the right...
I do support their right to express themselves, of course.
So then you don't support the right of Nupur Sharma
this is happening
to
in
express
France.
herself.
You can criticize.
So then why don't you express... No, one second, Mr. Matthews. Mr. Matthews, wait your turn. Wait your turn.
But...
So then you're proving my point.
This is, you criticize.
Then you're proving my point. Nupur Sharma must be sent to jail because she has no rights in this country. Now, one second.
No. She can't be threatened with her life.
No, that's fine. No one is talking about that. We are talking about her freedom of expression.
Abiding by that.
No,
but nobody should attack her personally.
Monojit Mandal. I applaud him, Rahul.
Mondol Saab. No, I don't actually. He's deliberately held on.
She should be.
One second, Mr. Mandal. See, he's held on to the slim edge of the wedge.
Nobody should attack her personally.
One second, Mandal. 1 second. Relax. Just let's calm down. I mean, just take a deep breath.
I'm quite relaxed.
Okay, good. Now listen to me.
Is going out.
Now listen.
What can I do?
Okay, don't worry.
Only taking breath.
Don't worry. If you just keep quiet, you'll hear everything clearly. Usually that happens. Now, listen to me. You see, we can't be selective about the right to express one's view. We can't say that one has a greater right over the other. We are not talking about beheading.
No, what
we
is
are not
the
talking
problem
about
with this poster? What is the
I'm
problem?
asking you.
What is the offensive
then
thing? I
what
want
is
to understand.
so wrong? Then what is so wrong? So let me finish.
Kaali is the goddess of the oppressed. Kaali is supposed to be the goddess of the subaltern, oppressed.
My dear friend,
women,
you're not getting the point.
Women.
You're not getting the point. You're not getting the point. Even 1%. No, 1 second. You're not getting the point here.
What is the point?
I'll tell you if you just listen.
Some people may agree, some people may disagree.
If you're not going to, well, it's the people who are disagreeing who have a problem, and therefore they should be taken seriously. Not all Muslims perhaps disagree with Nupur. Not all Muslims want her jailed. Not all Muslims believe that she should be booked under 298A or whatever it is. But the very few who are, the Zubairs of this world, who tweeted to arouse passions, they want. And we are listening to them. Some Gulf Arabs want. We are listening to them. So some Hindus do. Should we not listen to them? Why should Mr. Mondal then hold up the right of them to seek cases against Leena the filmmaker? Why should Mondal defend Leena and not Nupur? It's very simple. Not all Muslims are wanting Nupur jail, beheaded.
If you can find
they don't
a
even
case
believe.
against her, but if this is offensive as per
You
law,
see, viewers, here we go.
Here we go.
What is offensive under the law is being decided by Monojit Mondal. Monojit Mondal. You see, selectively.
I'm sorry. I take my applause back.
Modern portrayal of myth of Kaali.
Yes, Dr. Ranganathan wants to come back. Yes, yes.
And this is happening on screen.
Now,
Yes.
Not
now,
in
Mr.
reality.
Mondal,
This is happening
Dr.
on
Ranganathan,
screen.
you jumped the
This
gun.
is fictional imagination.
I did.
You jumped the gun.
I did
You jumped the
jump the
gun.
gun.
Throw it out. You
Rahul,
throw it out.
Rahul, you
Don't
understand.
watch the movie. Don't watch the
Rahul,
movie.
Rahul,
Watching
can
a
I
movie
please come in?
and someone
Yes,
saying on
Monojit
TV
Mondal.
that the person of
Now
a party
relax.
are not the same thing.
So just tell all your brothers who are
Yeah.
today
I
going
jumped the
after
gun.
Nupur, don't look at the clip. Don't
Yeah.
look at the clip. Don't open the clip.
Yeah.
Forget the clip existed. In fact, Times Now didn't even put out the clip. It is that guy who's in jail right now who deliberately 2 days later pulled out the clip. From where? A TV screen.
No. If
Our
you
live
say,
debate.
if you, I'll definitely.
No, one
if
second.
you say
Tell
that
your
what
brothers.
was doing is a work
Tell your
of
brothers.
art,
Tell your
then
brothers.
watch it.
Do
If
not
you
watch
say
that tape. You
what
don't. You will
Nupur
not
was
get
saying is
offended.
a work of art,
It's fine. I'm
it's a
okay with
fictional
that.
representation.
So tell
No,
Mr.
no.
Mondal,
If you
tell the
say
Muslims
that
outraging.
Nupur was saying out of her imagination.
No.
It
So
was
the
fictional
Danish
imagination,
cartoonists
it was a
also
work
made
of
something
art,
out of
then
their
don't throw
imagination.
it out.
Danish
You are wild.
cartoonists also made something out of their
There's
imagination.
nothing wrong. There's not. Yes.
Yeah, so you-
Absolutely. That's freedom of expression.
So then why don't you support
can't
Nupur's
compare
freedom
that
of
with
expression?
Nupur Sharma's statement.
Okay, so Nupur is being hanged for a fact. What are you saying?
Because she was speaking as a political party person.
Okay, that
She was
doesn't
not
matter. Doesn't make her more
fictionalizing it.
guilty. Sorry,
Rahul,
she
can
has
I please come in?
I think it's a
Okay.
statement.
Okay, I'll have to lower your fader. Mr. Mondal, you've clearly not been able to get this, or you're deliberately
Yes.
obfuscating. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, and I want to open it up. Yes, I want to
Yes,
bring
no,
Matthews,
Straight
who's
up,
taken
I
time
won't
out
take
today.
more than I won't take more than 30 seconds. Rahul, first up, my apologies. I jumped the gun because you had analyzed him to pat, Mr. Mondal. I jumped the gun and I thought he is a free speech absolutist. He stands not only for the freedom of expression of this woman director who portrayed Kaali, but he also supports Nupur. But it has turned out in the last 5 minutes that he doesn't. He's saying that in Nupur's case, the law will take its own course. But in the case of the woman director, he's saying the woman director has done no wrong. So there is obviously double standards here.
Completely.
So I do not applaud him anymore. He's been caught with his pants down. I'm sorry, I apologize.
It's not double,
I do not support
it's,
Mr. Mondal.
No, it's not double standard. It's not DS. It's DD. Double duplicity. Please understand. It's DD. It's the double DD. You see? DD. Yeah, okay. Now, let's open this up. Let's get further. Let's ask some other voices who have taken out time. Vineet Jindal, the lawyer. Vineet Jindal, what are you getting so excited about, says Mr. Mondal. Watch the film. What is so bad about the goddess smoking or being depicted smoking or holding the gay pride flag? What's the big deal? Why are you losing your hair over it?
Look, when we are talking about all these things, so there is a simple answer from my side is just do this thing with the other religion. Like Mr. Mondal says that there is a freedom of speech, there is a creativity. Please do some creativity with some other religions. I am not mentioning any religion's name or any specific religion. But nowadays the people are afraid from saying anything about a particular religion.
Okay. Let
This
me bring
creativity has been stopped
Okay.
unless against
So you are
unless
saying that Hindus are
it is
soft
about
targets?
Hinduism.
Okay. So you are saying
Everything-
that everyone takes liberty with Hindus
Yes.
because we don't react in a militant manner. Okay, fair enough. That's your point of view, and people have a right to feel offended on the behalf of some Hindus.
We always talking about the legal process.
Yeah, which is good.
The other religion is specifically says, Gardan kaat do.
Yes.
Then nobody is talking about all these things.
Well, the Indian High Commission...
What is this? This is
double
standard.
High Commission. Yes. Finally, the Indian government is showing some spine. Breaking news coming in.
Everyone is opposing.
Yeah, breaking news coming in. Indian High Commissioner writes to event organizers, seeks removal of smoking Kaali posters. So somewhere along the line, the Indian government has discovered that it has a spine, and it has obviously felt its 32 vertebra and has impressed them into service. That's good. That's good to know that the Indians are taking something seriously. Okay, Kevin Matthew. Let me bring in Kevin Matthew and Rashmi Samant, and then we'll bring in also Advocate Himanshu Goswami. Okay. So let me bring in Kevin Matthew. Kevin Matthew, if Leena can invoke her right to free speech, then why can't Nupur? Then why can't Danish cartoons reserve the right to depict whoever as they imagine?
Rahul, first let me take this opportunity to condemn every death threat, every threat has been made to any individual's life or well-being. That is completely condemnable. Only the having said that, it is little disheartening to see such a person of your stature comparing a public discourse to a work of art. These are two different things. Even the law sees it in two different. So we have a complainant who is an eminent lawyer on board. So he himself understands that work of art and public discourse or public speech are two different things. So that is another thing. Now, coming to the specific case of this, this is just a question that I want to put it as an aside to the complainant. So, sir, you have found offense in the poster of Kaali smoking. But then Kaali is the female embodiment of Lord Shiva, and why haven't you not yet found offense in numerous posters, numerous depictions of Lord Shiva smoking? No disrespect here, but sir, that's a valid question. So Lord Shiva can smoke, and that is respectful, but Kaali can smoke, and that is disrespectful. I don't find the logic behind that. So that is one question I would like to hear an answer from you, because it is you who found offense there. Having said that, aside to that, Rahul, my primary discourse here is Nupur Sharma came on a channel representing the party governing this country and such remarks. Leena Manimekalai, what she came out was a creative art form, and these are two different things. You can't compare apples to pineapples. Even though they don't sound alike, even though they sound alike, they don't taste alike. So that comparison is a bit childish and a bit periscopic and is a bit selfish. So that, I think, is something I have a difference of opinion with you.
Okay, fair enough. You can differ with me. You can differ with me. You're also differing by extension with the Indian government that has equated both Nupur and Leena, saying that Leena's poster should be removed, as they've also obviously taken on Nupur and apologized on her behalf. So just putting that on record.
One more thing. You can put that on record. And one more thing, let me make this clear. At the end of the day, law of the land should prevail. And so now we have a complainant. So we have a matter at sub judice with...
so you don't mind the case against Leena, right? Kevin, Matthew, you don't mind the case that has been filed against Leena?
The Kaali poster.
No, do you support the case against Leena, or you don't? Just answer me one word. Do you support the case against Leena? Yes, no?
It is that person's individual's right to file a complaint.
Okay. At least Kevin Matthew has been practical. At least he's being practical. Okay, let's bring in activist. One second. Let me bring in the others. Okay, Rashmi Samant is also waiting patiently. Let's hear from her. You've raised some points.
I need an answer for my question.
I'll get him for you. Don't worry. Let's first get in Rashmi Samant. Let her finish. There's Himanshu Goswami also waiting in the sidelines. Poor fellow. They're all waiting patiently. Yes, Ms. Samant.
So, firstly, what I'd like to say is that such deep misinterpretations, they're dangerous, and they go beyond just free speech or hurt sentiments, because they feed into this whole narrative which vilifies Hindus. And as some of the panelists have rightly pointed out, this documentary, it's not a film by the way, the creator herself calls it a documentary, it's coming out in Northern America, where Hindus are a micro-minority. And this kind of vilification makes the Hindu community prime target for misplaced anger within human society. We know that there's a lot of misplaced anger out there. There's gun violence, there's racism, there's discrimination. But these narratives make us a justified target out there for these kinds of crimes. I have personally faced this. When I was at Oxford, the man who came after me, he was making countless posts about how Saraswati Devi, similar to what's being currently done to Kaali Devi. So that's what was being done. And, this is dangerous. This is something which is detrimental to the very, freedom of dignity of Hindus across the world.
Okay. Very strong intervention. Kevin Matthew. So when 7 Indian states decided to ban the Da Vinci Code in 2006 because they deemed it offensive to Christians, do you condemn their decision? Because after all, the film was exercising artistic license. Christian organizations said, the minority organizations have pointed out that the film's storyline attacked the very heart of the Holy Gospel, destroying the divinity of Jesus Christ.
Rahul, to be honest, I don't agree to such bans.
Sorry?
The work of art, that is why we have something called a censor board. We have certain other mechanisms in place, and let that take its place. As is democracy, not a ban of
but Kevin Matthew, the 7 Indian states decided to ban the Da Vinci Code. That was it. It was banned because your brother Christians, your sister Christians decided that they didn't want to watch this, at least through these organizations.
Rahul, and that is why I'm coming out and saying that I'm in disagreement with that too.
Yeah, but you didn't sit on national TV and fulminate against it, did you?
Had you called me for that show, I would have said the same thing.
Right. You see, hindsight is 20/20, viewers. I wonder if I'd called him, whether he would have been laughing like the way he is. Okay, let me bring in Mr. Goswami. Mr. Goswami, you see, and I have to ask you this. Does secularism mean, and please answer this question honestly, placating Muslim sentiments while offending Hindu sentiments in the name of free speech? It's a very direct question to you, sir.
Thank you, Rahul, for finally giving me an opportunity to share my views. So, first I'd like to state that, I am a proud Hindu and I would not condone any action that would bring my religion in bad light. And in the same yardsticks, I would not condone any action that brings any religion in bad light, because that is what my religion teaches me, and as a lawyer, that's what my constitution teaches me as well. Now, to your very specific point, secularism has unfortunately morphed into a form today that is not representative of what the founding fathers of our constitution envisaged it as. And we need to go back to the basic ethos of secularism. Secularism has to mean equal treatment of all religions before the law. And that is exactly what I am also looking at this whole situation with. It's very interesting that we have my learned friend here, Mr. Jindal, who's a seasoned advocate, who's filed an FIR against this filmmaker. And I do not hold the brief for the filmmaker even for a second. But speaking purely as a lawyer, if you look at the ingredients of section 295, 298, 505 and 34, not a single ingredient gets made out, for the simple reason that this is not an offense that's committed on Indian law. It is committed in a country which had an analogous provision of section 296 in the Canadian Penal Code, which amounted to blasphemy, which was repealed in 2018. So the action committed by her in Canada, whether it's an offense or not in India, that's moot. Now, the second thing is, we are talking about a poster of a movie, without even giving benefit of the doubt to the filmmaker, who's saying, go and watch the movie first.
It doesn't matter.
Then if I have done something wrong, come back to me.
You also judge Nupur by the one long sentence she sallied forth on, which she was supposedly only quoting the hadith. That's what it came down to. So I want to know, 295, 298, 505 applies to Nupur. And I don't hold a candle. Let me tell you,
Rahul, if I were invited for that debate, I would have...
I don't hold a candle to anybody. Remember that. No, I'm not here supporting Leena or Nupur or anything like that. Let the law of the land go into this. Now you say that technically it doesn't apply. I'm not on the technical point. Supposing Leena was here in India and she had done all that she has done, and someone...
So then what lies the question of, you started with filing FIR,
so unlike like Mr. Jindal, one second, Mondol, I'm not speaking to you, let somebody else speak. Arey bhaiya,
you started with that.
Can I come in here, please?
No, if you don't want to go into the technicalities of it, then your debate doesn't stand.
Sir, it is about a principle. You didn't argue the technicalities, you were arguing the principle. I'm going back to the principle. The principle is, if
you
some people in one community, hello, if some,
Leena.
1 second,
That's
sir.
What you
Oh
said.
gosh,
now
listen,
this
Mr.
very
Mandol,
learned
please.
advocate has made it amply clear that there cannot be any case against Leena.
I'm ignoring you, Mr. Mondol, right now. I don't think you're understanding where I'm coming from. Mr. Goswami, I'm having a conversation with him. Please butt out for 30 seconds, please. Okay?
Right.
Yes. Please go ahead.
So, Mr. Goswami, let's not get into the specificities of the application of the law, because I didn't ask you a legal question. I only asked you a very simple question. Does one community have a greater right to feel offended than the other? It's very simple. If it's not, then whether Mr. Vineet Jindal is right or wrong, he has the right to take offense, as do Muslims against Nupur Sharma, equal right. That's it. What's so difficult?
Rahul, not for a moment am I suggesting that one community has, greater rights than the other to feel offended or take umbrage. All I'm saying is,
so then,
what is there to take umbrage about?
Then why is one community?
Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Yeah. No, I completely agree with you here.
So fine. So then, if you agree with me, that's the end of the debate.
But let's look at this poster, Rahul. Let's look at this poster.
No, forget the poster. Look, we can get into the.
But allow me 30
second,
seconds,
because
please.
see, people have already pronounced
No,
Nupur guilty.
The poster is the genesis of the whole controversy.
One second. I take
Rahul.
offense there. I take offense, Mr. Goswami. I take offense because I am actually a very fair person. So no one gave Nupur Sharma the benefit of doubt. You are going out of the way, analyzing the poster. Did you fact check Nupur Sharma? Why not? Why not? Dr. Ranganathan, why do you think Nupur Sharma has been given zero benefit of doubt and people are giving Leena so much benefit of doubt? Can you explain to me? I'm confused.
No, I'll explain, Rahul. I need a couple of minutes from my esteemed panelists because I've been listening to this very enchanting discussion. And can I just say that I'm a little bit disappointed by the comments of two of my esteemed panelists. One of them seems to be suggesting that he is for prosecution for offending religious sensibilities, but despite him being a believer in the grey, he has the right to decide something which is totally subjective as to what is an offense and what is not, thereby being a hypocrite. And the other panelist seems to be suggesting what is art and what is not. In order to cushion their own hypocrisy, they are going around in circles as though their one leg is shorter than the other. Can I remind this person who is delineating for us what is and what isn't art, that 1965 Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded to Mr. Robert Burns Goodward for, and I quote, the art in organic synthesis. He synthesized the chlorophyll, and the Nobel Committee said that is art. What is science is also art, and what is art is also science. So please do not get on all these demarcations. Now, Rahul, with your permission, because the matter is very philosophical, you know, can I please have a couple of minutes? I'm sure you will like what I have to say. Can I please?
2 minutes. Yes, 2 minutes, please. Yeah, you've only spoken once. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it because the matter is not about 295A. The matter is about hypocrisy. If you are not an absolutist in free speech, then you will delve into the gray. And the problem is that the hate that some have towards free speech absolutists is like the hate believers have towards atheists, apostates and rationalists. Heck, there is even a psychiatric term for it. It's called guilt of inadequacy. They feel embarrassed at being irrational and therefore inadequate, believing, for example, in flying horses and immaculate conception and walking on water, when science tells you that it is impossible. And because they fear being exposed as hypocrites, they label free speech as a utopian concept. Opponents of free speech are believers of the grey because that lets them wallow in their hypocrisy worse. They inadvertently support Nehru for curbing free speech through the First Amendment. Yeah. They love it when they condemn someone for offending a particular religious sensibility, but hate it when one of their own or they themselves are condemned for offending religious sensibility. This is what is classic subjectivity and the grey, and of course the guilt of inadequacy. And because of free speech, absolutists never condemns anyone for, quote, offending religious sensibilities for the simple reason that who decides what is offensive and what is not. Yeah. Of course, free speech absolutism comes with a few commonsensical exceptions. In the name of free speech, for example, you can't divulge state secrets. You can't scream fire in a crowded theater. You can't incite and lead a mob to violence. You can't defame someone's reputation with false details. That's where defamation suit comes in. But all else is kosher. I ask you, the purveyors of guilt of inadequacy, think for once. How can freedom be subject to public order or decency or offending religious sensibilities? Are you going to ban Naga sadhus from appearing in public now? Are you going to be offended by my saying that the earth is not flat or wasn't made in 6 days? The second aspect of hypocrisy of the haters of free speech absolutists, Rahul, is their inability to think rationally. Out of fear and embarrassment, for example, just 30 seconds, they oppose the abrogation of 295 despite knowing very well that out of tens of thousands charged under 295, only a handful are really at risk of beheading. An overwhelming majority have forwarded some snarky post or made a quip or uploaded a Photoshop, and yet these are the ones whose lives are destroyed by 295 because they offended religious sensibilities. Let me provide just two examples. 21-year-old Sunny Gupta was charged with 295A and jailed for 45 days. You know what his crime was? He asked people to, quote, not visit Ajmer Sharif. That's it. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, who was clearly being sarcastic when he commented in front of a temple, was jailed for 40 days. He came out suffering debilitating health issues, requiring multiple surgeries. Put yourself in their shoes or the shoes of their relatives, and then you will realize the absurdity of this law, gentlemen and ladies. Leave aside the argument of free speech absolutism for a second. These tens of thousands are mere collateral for you.
They might be. That's the sense I'm getting. So the one art that we have not addressed is the art of hypocrisy. So, viewers, I leave it at that. Contemplate that, the art of hypocrisy, as Dr. Ranganathan has now brought us to think about. We move on, because viewers,